Welcome. Today we will be discussing an important topic, strategies for creating secure collaboration environments. The volume of information being created by organizations today continues to rise at a record-breaking pace. Yet, despite this trend, very few organizations can tell you where all of their truly sensitive information resides or who has access to it. A growing share of this information resides in unstructured documents within collaboration repositories like SharePoint or on file servers. The traditional method for securing data in SharePoint environments is to establish permissive access controls at the site level and let the content owners or site members apply more discretionary permissions at the individual document level. Security around file servers has traditionally been more discretionary, but getting security right often results in the creation of complex group structures to describe the relationship of users to the data being created. In both cases, access controls are usually established before a single piece of content has even been created, and there's little audit or review of actual content to ensure that permissions assigned to a document are commensurate with the sensitivity of information that's contained within it. In classified networks, there's typically more awareness around security, and procedures generally exist to properly classify information, but the challenges here remain the same as in most non-classified collaboration environments. First, it's still the responsibility of the content owner to accurately classify information and apply discretionary access controls to properly secure the document. Second, the accuracy of classification labels may never be verified. As a result, collaboration environments have become organizations' new ground zero for unintentional data loss and spillage. CA has developed an innovative approach to help secure these collaboration environments that simplifies administration and dynamically secures access to your organization's most sensitive content. We've taken the job of controlling access out of the content owner's hands and built automated mechanisms to enforce access rules based on information classification labels. To ensure the accuracy of our access rules, we've also built mechanisms which check for classification errors and spillage of sensitive information into other documents. The result? All users have to do is simply post their documents and we'll do the rest. So how do we do it? In this demo, we will be showcasing 3 different technologies that can help your organization secure data in its collaboration environments. The first is an information labeling solution from Bolden James. This solution, once deployed, integrates into Microsoft Office and provisions users with the number of information labels they can use to classify information. The next 2 solutions are provided by CA Technologies. The first is CA DataMinder Classification, which provides automated data classification services for Microsoft File Classification Infrastructure and label translation services for Bolden James manual classification labels. The final piece is CA SiteMinder Agent for SharePoint. This agent serves as a proxy which monitors activity taking place in SharePoint and provides dynamic access control to prevent users from accessing content they are not authorized to view. Now, in our demo scenario today, there are several different organizations working together on a joint project for NATO to build a new navigation system to be used in an upcoming fighter jet. The mission is complex and will require collaboration of sensitive information across both organizational and national boundaries. Organization A has established a SharePoint site and federated access so that users from organizations B and C can collaborate. Information can also be stored on a Windows 2012 file server. All participants have signed a joint intellectual property license agreement to safeguard any information created and must also abide by local and international export control laws. Each document that is created as part of this joint collaboration effort must have a variety of classification labels applied, including the intellectual property license agreement. The labels, in turn, should dictate who ultimately will have access to that content. More important, access controls should ensure that users without proper clearance don't obtain unauthorized access to program documentation. Now, in the demo we're about to see, the primary users are going to be John Smith and Michael Allen. As you can see, John Smith is a U.S. citizen and has access to most all of the labels that are available and will be used in the demo. Michael Allen is a member of Organization B and a UK citizen, and he has access to almost all of the content except for the documents that will be labeled EAR NLR for National U.S. Export Control. Now, in our first scenario, we would demonstrate how our SiteMinder agent for SharePoint dynamically controls access to content within SharePoint based on information classification labels. I will sign in to the system as Michael Allen to our SharePoint environment. And I'm going to navigate to the navigation system folder. And the first thing I want to point out is if we look at the site permissions of this folder, almost everyone has full control to the content within it. So if I go back to the nav system, there really should be, if just SharePoint was managing security, there should be no reason why Michael Allen shouldn't have access to all these documents. Yet, as we recalled earlier, Michael Allen is only authorized to view certain information classification labels that have been placed on these documents. He does not have access to EAR, NLR labeled documents. So as expected, when I attempt to view this information in the browser, the access is blocked. On the other hand, if I tried to open a document that's labeled unrestricted, Michael should have access to view that content in the browser. So we describe our solution for secure collaboration as dynamic classification and control. But so far we haven't really addressed the dynamic nature of our solution capabilities. To do that, I'm going to sign back into the SharePoint environment as John Smith, and I'm actually going to open up one of those documents that's labeled for U.S. export control, and I'm going to change the label so that then Michael Allen will have access to the environment. With the document open, you can see the Bolden James information labeling control solution that has been deployed, which allows users to quickly and easily apply labels that they've been authorized and provisioned to use. We see that the EAR, NLR, or U.S. export control label has been applied. We want to remove this label, and we will save the document back into the SharePoint environment. We see that the label is no longer applied, and we're going to log out of the system and log back in as Michael Allen. Navigating back into the nav system folder, Michael Allen should now have access to view this file, and indeed he now does. In the first scenario, we explored how the SiteMinder Dynamic Access agent for SharePoint works with manually classified labels to automatically control access to sensitive documents in SharePoint environments. In this next scenario, we will demonstrate how the CA DataMinder classification engine driving the SiteMinder agent can also interoperate with Microsoft's file classification infrastructure in Windows Server 2012 to automatically classify information and dynamically control access across file servers. We'll demonstrate this by taking a known classified document and cut and paste some information into a new document. Without labeling the content within this new document, we'll then upload it to our 2012 file server. We'll then wait as Microsoft's file server calls our classification engine to verify the contents inside the document. Once the content has been verified, access to the document will then be denied, and you'll see the document disappear from view within Michael Allen's file share folder. As you can see, the document has disappeared from view. To see what happened, let's go over to the actual Windows 2012 file server and take a look in a bit more detail. To check the classification of the document, we simply right-click, look at Properties, and then go to the Classification tab. Here we can see all of the labels that have been applied, including the EAR NLR document, which Michael Allen does not have access to. Now, if this classification tab doesn't look familiar, it's because it's one of the newer features available when you're using the file classification infrastructure available in Windows Server 2012. When configured properly, Microsoft's new File Server Resource Manager can be used to create dynamic access policies, which restrict user access to content based on classification. In other words, Windows calls CA DataMinder classification engine to determine what kind of content is really inside the document. Now, Microsoft's dynamic access capability currently only works for Windows file servers, but with CA SiteMinder SharePoint agent, we've extended this capability into the entire Microsoft Collaboration Suite. To demonstrate this, we'll log back into the SharePoint environment and attempt to upload the document which we just saved on the Windows 2012 file server. We'll see now that we have the document uploaded that all the information classification labels that were applied by the Windows 2012 file server are now present. Now, if I go back to our other instance where we have Michael Allen signed into the system, and we go to the same file folder, because Michael Allen does not have access to the export control information classification label, when Michael attempts to open this document or view it in the browser, he should be denied. So let's take a moment to summarize this discussion. Traditional means of securing collaboration environments are complex, resource-intensive, and place far too much reliance on content owners to properly safeguard information. CA's dynamic classification and control capabilities can help organizations secure their collaboration environments by integrating with manual classification technologies, automating classification decisions and correcting classification errors, and dynamically applying access controls based on content inspection. The result is that your organization's overall information classification program is much more effective, efficient, and sustainable.